I'm ChosenArchitect, and this is All the Mods Volcano Block. Now, over the last couple of episodes, we have really dived into some of the hardest components for the All the Modium star, which is the thing that we are working for, the All the Mods star. And that was, well, of course, the improbability device. That thing was pretty fun to make, incredibly difficult. The dimensional seed, also incredibly difficult due to its required items. And those things were really, really hard. The Nexia emitter, not too bad, and the pulsating black hole, not too bad. However, these both had villagers that assisted us through 2 mods entirely, saving us a lot of time. And hopefully that doesn't get fixed in the future for you guys, as I do think it's a pretty nice little thing that's in this pack. But today we have other things that we need to work towards. And I think we're almost done. I think after today, we should have all of the rest of the components that are needed outside of the netherrack, and of course the Patrick star that we need to create the All the Modium star and create the crafter that is going to be the thing all of this gets crafted in, which is going to be the fun thing to set up. So let's go ahead and dive headfirst into one of the first items I want to start making, and that is going to be, how do we obtain the summoning focus with the dragon soul? This thing is actually going to require us to dive back into Ars Nouveau, and we are going to need a ritual of the Wilden, right? Now, it's the same ritual that you use to normally summon Wilden, right? But we are going to need to augment it with all of the different horn components, right? So we're going to need a Wilden spike, and we're also going to need a Wilden. And we've done this already throughout this playthrough. We've already fought the Wilden, but we haven't fought the Wilden in this particular gear. So I'm kind of curious how quickly we can defeat the Wilden with one of our swords. So I think the All the Modium sword will be pretty powerful for this particular thing. So let's do All the Modium, and I think I have a sword in here. Yes, the Master of the Alloy. I have a feeling this is one of the best swords that we can use simply because of how quickly we can spam click it. So all we need to get this to summon in is to simply just get the ritual going. And I think we'll head into the end to do this just like we did last time. So here we are in the end. I'll place down my ritual, place the tablet of summoning the wild, and then make sure to augment it with these different pieces. And then we simply summon it in, and it does have some pretty awesome boss music. I do like this, but I don't think this boss music is going to last very long at all. So let's get this bad boy summoned. There it is. So how quickly can we annihilate this guy? Yeah, much quicker. I mean, not as fast as I thought, but it is pretty quick. And we are going to be able to get through each phase. And oh, this is the spiked one, by the way. This is the one that everybody says is the most dangerous. Oh, it's got invincibility frames, like full invincibility. This is so cool looking. I like the spiked one. Yeah, that's pretty neat. And now the one that gets wings, even cooler looking. And of course, this is one way to get ourselves a tablet. Now, I know the music completely cuts off, but there's actually, I believe, another ritual that we could make. We need 2 Wilden tablets, and I believe this ritual right here consumes these materials and can just give you another Wilden tablet. So if you want to make more of them, make sure you get at least 2 of them. Do this 2 times, and you don't have to worry about fighting anymore. But in our case, this is all we really need, because in order to craft the Master of Dragons, we need a spell focus of summoning. We already do have a spell focus. Ours is related towards something different, but all we have to do now is set this up in an enchanting apparatus, use a source block and these individual items, and we'll have ourselves, before we know it, a focus of summoning. And I think that's one of the only things we really need from this, because we've already made the empty soul. That was from occultism a few episodes ago, if you do remember. And everything else in here we already have, including the dragon prediction. And I did also set up some dragon seeds inside of our setup. So we actually have quite a few dragon egg essences as well. Now, I know this might be a lot to take in, but believe me, this is where all of our preparation is really starting to shine. This is just where everything has been coming that we've been doing throughout the playthrough. This is where everything slowly comes together and we start to see all of the stuff we grinded for. Well, here we go with all of these items together. we do simply another Ars Nouveau craft. I absolutely love this craft. And here it is. Very nice. And perfect. We have one of the many items we're going to need. So do we have just about everything needed for this? So we do need an in-stone pebble and we do need this, but we can go ahead and make the dragon egg crux. And that is ready to go. What else is left? What else is left? So simply need an in-stone pearl. So we can go ahead and craft up some in-stone. And then what I'm going to do to just hopefully get a little bit of this is I'm going to place this in here. That's going to crush down, and that should have went into here, and we should have an end stone. Maybe not. Let's craft up a little bit more end stone here, and I'll just simply continue to put this in here, and maybe that will sift up enough to give us the end stone we need, because this is supposed to give us that. So when it is crushed up, we never set this up because I had really no need to do this after setting up a mob farm. It does appear that it does have a chance of giving it to you, and it's very low, but let's see. Pebble. I guess we're just gonna have to keep sieving more and more of this. I was expecting it to show up in my applied logistics system. It shows just how sometimes you completely forget everything. Yeah, it just ends up going in here, and I totally forgot. If you don't have a space for it, of course it's going to go into your ender chest, which I have everything pumping into. So now I do have the pebble needed, and I think that is everything needed to make the dragon soul. So perfect. There's one other piece of the puzzle done. Master of Dragons, and for this we do get the Master of Dragons, and we get the pedestal and a random reward. Very, very cool. And what was our random reward? A dragon egg. There we go. So I'll have that pedestal ready, but now the other components, such as the wither compass, believe it or not, we probably can just simply craft this. So if I make a pattern here for the gravitational module, we should have everything ready to go to simply auto craft this. I will pull all the current antimatter that I have into my system. I should now have tons of antimatter, and we've already used some antimatter. So yeah, we have over 49 antimatter that has been being produced, and we don't really have a whole lot of playtime. I think we're setting it like 5 days worth of playtime, getting close to 6 days worth of playtime, I do believe, in this particular pack. And so I would say that's pretty good. This has been burning at a really, really nice rate, and it probably could burn even faster. I've just not upgraded it. So this is just needed for the wither compass. And then of course we do need this for the wither builder. And so that is going to get started up. But outside of that, we just need the gravitational units. And so let's go ahead and start the craft on those. And before I know it, these are all going to be done. And now keep in mind, we did prep these in advance a few episodes ago. And the things that we prepped up was the ultimate induction providers. These take a long time to craft, and therefore definitely worth getting those set up early on. And the way that we did all of that was we just simply used this requester. For all of these individual things that require a ton of crafts, I went ahead and set them up, and I set it to where I needed 16 of them, batched them to where they only crafted one at a time, and then I just basically turned it on so that way it would just craft it while I was working on other things. So I didn't have to worry about crafting. That requester is really, really handy for things like this. And so with that, it kept them nice in stock for us. And so now we should have everything, I think, to make the wither builder, minus some skulls, and it looks like soul sand, which I'm going to have to craft by hand, it appears. For once, we're actually out of soul sand. But yeah, I should be able to craft it in any form. This should definitely work. Let's see, wither skeleton skulls. We can also craft those by just using regular skulls. And perfect. So all of this coming together. There's a wither builder. And then last but not least, we should have all of these components, and done. There's the wither compass. And so Master of the Undead that we just completed as well. Well, I told you, this is going to go by pretty quick. It looks like you can get an antimatter pellet from this by chance. This is a very small thing to potentially get. And we ended up getting an unobtainium alloy ingot, which at this point is a very meh reward. But we did get it. Now, there's still one other thing, and that is going to be the creative essence. Now, Creative Essence is also one of those things that is pretty easy so long as you've had a mob farm up since the beginning. And so we have had a mob farm up, so this is actually not too bad. However, I do need to make a master infusion crystal, and this is going to be one that we're going to need here. So there we go, we have that. I think I just need to make some insanium blocks, and that's the thing that does take a little bit of time. And then I just need to craft, which I have on AutoCraft, the blocks, which requires a bit of insanium. So you are going to need a little bit of insanium, but I think we have a ridiculous amount. We have like 740 insanium that's been building up. It's kind of ridiculous. But at this point, there we go. There's our creative essence, which is also another thing that was required. So perfect. So we are completing just about everything now. As you can see, things are really starting to shape up. And there's still a couple of other things. So we still need philosopher fuel. Now this requires these nuclear chambers, which require these dense copper plates. Now there is a villager that I could use for this, or I could just simply take some copper and we can actually go ahead and compress a bunch of this. However, it takes 8 copper to compress. So if we go down here to our compressors, I'll just simply toss a few in and I'll get that started. Now, once we have enough to make one, we can definitely make another villager, and we could put that in here. But as you can see, it processes relatively fast. And I think you can hopper into these. They may require upgrades, but there's the dense plates, and that is going to be one of the other things that we need to make. But we also need this insanium coal. Now, I don't have the recipes set up for coal, so I'm going to need to set that up. And this does take quite a bit of your insanium, but if you have as much as I have at this point, I think you're going to be completely fine. So we'll get the coal pattern set up, and then of course the block. So we don't have to do any of this by hand, because that's where it gets kind of frustrating. And we put this together, and let's see, coal blocks, and we just need 2 of them. Before you know it, they're crafted. So there's part of that recipe. Now this also requires an antimatter pellet, and it's also going to require the magnesium, yeah, I believe. This right here, believe it or not, just comes from Dragon's Breath. So we can take a dissolver and take one of our Dragon's Breath, and we should be able to just put it into one of our dissolvers that we have lingering around over here. For example, this, and then that is going to produce multiple things. But that's going to jumpstart right back together, and there is the things that we need. So perfect. So that part of the puzzle is now solved as well. Now, of course, back to the fuel rods, and I know this episode is just full of crafting, but I really want to show this because I feel like all of this work definitely feels like it comes into play here. So we're going to need the uranium rods, and to make those, you just need cells. And this is pretty cool because we have plenty of uranium. And so this makes making the fuel rods very, very simple. We just craft them together. And then look at that. We have tons of fuel rods, and we just need to combine those together. These would be used if you were setting up the IC2 nuclear reactors, which I haven't done in years. It has been straight up years. They are kind of tricky to get fully automated and set up, but there is, I believe, a way that you can set them up where they're completely self-sustainable, and you do produce a ton of power that way. That'd probably be the ultimate way to produce power if you didn't have these transformers that allowed you to convert the power from one to another, or these converters. Now, I think we do want the IC2 villager here for this, so I'm going to go ahead and get ourselves another villager right up next to Greg here. And this should eventually accept the reactor. So you do have to have enough plates in order to get this guy. So you got to keep that in mind. But he's now got a friend. He's got a little friend here, and should eventually convert into a hazmat suited villager, which we can then hopefully buy these copper plates off of. This guy is so cute. I love this little fella. Look at his eyes. The little lenses on his eyes is it's fogged up. I don't know. I love it. I think it's adorable. And there we go. There's the copper plates. So we can actually just continue to buy the copper plates and or buy coolant cells, which is amazing because coolant cells are really great in making overclocker upgrades. So you don't have to go through that process. And I don't really know what else this guy sells. Maybe it does sell. I don't think he sells nuclear reactors. But it does take a moment to be able to figure that out. These guys take they're a little delayed. compared to the other villagers? Oh, that's right. It sells different nuclear reactor related components. Aha. Ultimately being this reactor planner, which seems pretty cool. Does this like allow you to like plan out how your reactor is going to function beforehand? That's pretty darn cool if that's the case. But yeah, really the biggest thing I'm after are these dense plates, as these are such a pain to make, as they do just take a while. So definitely being able to buy as many of these as possible is what I want. There we go. We've maxed them out. So I should now be able to just simply craft the one reactor, right? But we needed, even though I technically made a reactor just so I could get this villager. Yeah, that's definitely helping out on making these quad uranium rods, because those do require those plates. So definitely think that it's worth doing that. And then of course making these do require, so we're gonna need 2 of them. So 6 of the reactors. And then last but not least, we are gonna need the generator, which I've already got that on craft. Go ahead and craft up another one. And I think that's it, because we've already produced some of the other components of this. We already made the Awakened Supremium Furnace whenever we set up the awakening materials over here. So I think that we now should be able to also craft the Philosopher's Fuel. Oh my gosh. We are killing it today. There we go. So now we have this complete as well. And what awesome item did we get? We got a spirited solar panel. Couldn't, these rewards are killing me. They really are. So that is basically everything that needed to be done, aside from a couple of things, and that is right, our nether stars. So we do need 15 nether stars, and we are oh so close to that amount. You can see right here we're at 80,000 nether stars, and what we need is a little bit over 94,000 nether stars. So that's something we need to keep in mind, because I need to make the 3 times compressed. And yes, this does get kind of insane, and this is just for 1 star. So like I've mentioned in the past, keep in mind that in reality, if you really wanted to, you can have infinite stars, but you're going to need to craft 5 of them before you can make them infinite. Now, of course, if you're this far into the pack, there's probably really no need for any creative items, because at this point, you should have absolutely everything automated. In the way I like to play is, this is a trophy. And as you can see, this is the All the Mods trophy, which in my opinion symbolizes I have successfully completed the pack. And so, with everything rounded out, I think that you would have definitely completed the pack at this point. Now, of course, speaking of trophies, I do want to go ahead and get these other things in place here. Of course, we'll place down our pedestals. Pedestals? Pedestals. I say them different every time, I think. There we go. We'll get that put in. And then we need the Master of Dragons. That's going to go here. And you can kind of just see everything filling out, right? So next to this, we're going to have this one filled up with our Wither. Oh, it's just so satisfying. Like throughout the entire playthrough. Oh, while you hold that, you get Withered? What? You get the Wither effect while you're holding that. That's funny. And of course, our armor just completely removes that. It'd be funny is if you were holding the black hole, if you had to figure out a way to get loose from the like weight of the black hole, and it would be really hilarious if it just gave you like slowness, like an insane amount of slowness, and so you'd have to transport this only through your system, your applied energistic system, which is kind of this insane digital storage that doesn't really care about weight and stuff like that. So it'd be kind of cool. Yeah, I think all of these could have some cool things, like the philosophers could set you on fire, or the dragon could give you like constant tick damage as if you're receiving all of this. Yeah, there's all kinds of cool things that I could come up with for all of these individual things. It'd be pretty cool. But anyways, I'm kind of getting carried away. We do need our creative essence. Creative essence also goes next to the oblivion. And of course, you don't have to set these up this way. I really am just doing this for my personal enjoyment. And as you can see here, just so I can visualize all of the things I have done. And it is really nice to see this and just go, you know, I've done this. Now, of course, while I wait for my nether stars to finish up, I think we should go ahead and get the star crafter set up and potentially craft the Patrick star. Yeah, it's going to require a little bit of create. And I think one of the best ways to power this full setup is maybe making a small-ish sort of steam generator, but none of this is actually going to be that bad. So the things that we're actually going to need from the create mod, even though we really didn't mess too much with create in this particular playthrough, is we are going to need to craft up the crafters, the mechanical crafters, and we need 55 of these. Now brass casings just require brass, and we can do this all by hand. Because it's only 55, that's not a whole lot, and I already have some brass casings from stuff I've done. So probably the fastest way to do this is just by placing down some logs, and just get a nice area of logs placed down, and then use your wand to place as many as you can down, just like this, and you can even stack them up would probably work as well. And then just simply go around and, well, actually we need to strip all of these. So I really wish we could mass strip them. We probably could if we had like our axe upgraded here, but vein miner doesn't seem to allow us to strip them. Yep, just simply strip a bunch, and then I'm going to be right clicking all of that brass onto these. Now this is one of many of the like random tedious things that you have to do in order to get all of this up and running. But as you can see, this is all converting, and then I'll just vein mine to collect all of these. Now, the next thing that is a little bit tedious is the fact that for each of these crafters that we're going to make, all 55, we're going to need an electron tube in order to craft them, which we don't need 55 electron tubes, and I don't think we need 55 brass casings, right? So 55 divided by 3 is going to give us, we're going to need like 18 crafts. We're going to need 19 crafts. So we're going to need 19 of each of these items, I do believe. And this requires polished quartz. So to get polished quartz, we take some of that rose quartz that we've been producing through our sieve, and we use sandpaper on it. And unfortunately in this pack, we do not have like the higher tier sandpapers. So we're just going to need to craft up a few sandpapers, and they only do like a few per craft. So keep in mind that we're gonna need like close to 20 of these. So this should be, was it the quartz? Yeah, rose quartz. So what you do is you put the sandpaper or this in your offhand. It doesn't really matter, either or. Probably better to keep the sandpaper in your main hand. That way you can see the durability. And then we just do this. Yeah, just continue to do this for as many times as we need till we get about 20 of these. And it does appear that it only made like 8 of them. Yeah, it only makes like 8 or whatever per sandpaper. So you don't get a whole lot per sandpaper, but yeah, it's a process that if we're doing it by hand is intended to be tedious like this. Isn't it hilarious though that after all of the stuff that we've made this far, I'm calling this tedious? I don't know what's wrong with me. And there we go. We should be able to make 55 of these crafters. That is what we're gonna need. And we make 57, but only need 55. So what I want to do is I want to place this sort of in the middle. If I can line this up with the middle of everything, I should be able to find the center point here. And I'm going to place this right about here is where things are going to start. Now, the way this star is designed is it is spread out. It looks like 3 blocks in the middle. So I'm going to place a block here and a block here. And that will kind of give me an indicator of how I need to set this up. And so the base of it is like this, and the rest should sort of fall into place. Now, the Patrick star is the same size as the crafter that we'll be crafting the all the mods star in. And of course, we do need this as well. This requires a mixture of different kinds of concretes and concrete powders that we need to put in here, but it's really easy to do by hand. You just need to reference this guide. Unfortunately, we're using JEI and not REI because it'd be really nice to be able to simply bookmark this entire like section and throw it over here so we could always see that. That's one good thing about the REI mod, but that's not what we're using right now. So we got to deal with what we got. So it does look like we need to go up, and it's going to do this sort of move. Let's see, we go up 1 and then over 4. So just like this. And depending on how you click these on here, it will change the ultimate way that this is connected. But later on, we're going to configure this whole thing to send this all to a central location. Probably, if I can get it right, hopefully I can get it to just send it all to the center point here and go right into the middle. Now, if we're working like a printer, I want to go ahead and build all of this with you guys. That way you guys can sort of follow along. And then all we have to do here is just build that next layer. And then we continue to squeeze in just like so. And then that has now been pushed to the middle. And I think we have that should be a row of 5, which it is. And then the next level is going to extend out 1, basically repeating the same process that we just made at the bottom, but now we're doing it to the top. And then the next layer is going to be another out like this. Actually, not too bad of a structure to build, to be fair. And then of course we expand out 1 more. And then this is going to be double layered, so it's going to be the exact same size. And it's going to be going up. Was I right on the crafters? I feel like I do not have 55 in this. Did I overdo it somewhere? Because that feels like a lot. I think I may have added an extra layer here. Oh no, I had it right. It seemed a bit odd because I hadn't put the top piece on. And there we go. So this is the star. Now, let's see. Do I already have a create wand? Or not create wand. I'm going to need a create wrench. And I do not currently have that. But making a cogwheel, we can go and do that. And then making gold plates, that is pretty straightforward as well. Perfect. And yes, so what I'm going to do is I just need to rotate these all facing the appropriate direction. So right now, I want everything, I believe, to end up in this position. So to do that and to have it crafted right here and then send to the barrel that we're going to have at the bottom here, we are going to need to make sure everything eventually ends up here. And so a cool way that we could do this is have everything sent to the position above and then combine there. And so we just need to make sure all of this leads up, as you can see right here. And once all of these are facing in that upward position, we just need to make sure everything eventually makes its way here. Now, of course, we can't make the Patrick star yet, but the colors that we're going to need is lime, magenta, pink, and green. So I have all the powders made up. I have all of this now set up, but the one thing we're missing is cog power. So this is where I think using a steam engine from Create, not a very large one, just the basic steam engine should be more than enough to do this. I think just 1. And then we're going to need some tanks. I typically like to do, let's see, what would be a good amount here? Probably like 4 tanks. I think that's the size you want. And then a campfire, a single campfire, and then a sink. So that way we can feed water into this, and then a pipe that is just feeding the water in. And that should be more than enough to be able to spin this. So how do I want to spin this? That is the other question. And I think I kind of want to hide it a little bit, and I want to have it go under here. So cog, if I can type today, cog. I'm just going to use a small cog wheel. That should be more than enough. And yeah, this isn't going to be the fastest generator in the world, but if we place this down, place our tanks on top. Actually, this needs to go back a little bit, doesn't it? So yeah, let's send this back a little bit. Actually, let's get our cog set up so we can see how far this is actually going to go. But yes, we need a cog that's routed here. And that cog is going to spin this entire mechanical crafter because they're all interlinked. And so if you're new to Create, well, I doubt you are if you've made it this far. But this mod is very interesting in how it sends power everywhere. So I have that set up now. And then I got to think about this. The shaft that extends from the tank is going to be 3 blocks, I do believe. So if I put my steam engine here, which I can go ahead and put my campfire down, and then place my tank right here. 4 tall, I think is more than enough. And then I put my pipe with a sink on top. That's going to feed water into this. And of course, you can go ahead and send the water into here. But as soon as we put a steam engine on it, it is going to convert into steam power, just like this. And so what's going to happen is now we just extend a shaft off the side, and you can see that this is rotating. So I need to get that rotational energy changed. So this is where a gearbox is going to come into play. Of course, we're going to need a few cogs for this to work. So a few more shafts. But yes, the gears, we should be able to get this to change direction. So as you can see right here, we need this to change. And right now it's also rotating the wrong direction. So let's go ahead and change that by simply clicking here. And you can see that that shaft has changed. By the way, this doesn't look like anything until you apply this onto it. So there we go. Also, I want to unclick that. So yeah, I need this spinning in this direction. And so what's going to happen is when I put a gearbox down here, that is going to completely change it. Now I need to switch this to a vertical gearbox. When I put it down here, bam, now this whole thing is rotating. And you'll notice it does have enough rotational energy in order to turn this on a tier 1 boiler, which is basically what this is, a steam engine with a boiler connected to it. And that's basically it. So this whole thing is now running, and now we should be able to craft ourselves the Patrick Star. Now, when it comes to putting this all together, of course, you can set up a full automation of the Patrick Star if that's something you really wanted to do, but I like to work on this like it's a printer, where I start on the bottom line and I sort of read. So it's pink and then green concrete powder. So I kind of know what I need to work with. So pink and then green. And then I think it was concrete powder. That's the kind of thing, it's like mixed together. So yeah, it's to get the different sort of shades. But there's the green. And then we put the actual green concrete in. And yeah, it's really easy to mess this up. But if you mess up, you're going to know it, because what will happen is it just won't craft. But whenever you place the last piece in, you'll definitely know you completed it, because as soon as you place the last piece in, the whole thing should work. Well, I guess in reality, if you do place it all in and it is messed up, well, it will still turn on, but whenever it crafts it, it'll just spill all the items out that you put towards it, because if you get one of these wrong, yeah, it'll do that. Now for the moment of truth. Everything is in here. All you have to do is put in the one item, and it should all start to come together. Oh, I love this. This is one of the most satisfying parts right here. Just watching everything just slowly but surely pull in, just like so, until it finally gets to the center item, which makes everything look like the star. Everything comes together, and just like that, we have ourselves the Patrick Star. And if all was put in right, we now get the Patrick Star, and bam, the craft is now done. So inside of here, we now have ourselves a Patrick Star. Just one more of the items needed, and literally almost the last item that we need in order to complete all of this. We get the Master of Patrick. I wonder what the like the story behind the Patrick Star really is. I wonder what this was all about. I wonder if it was just an item that they made and they're like, you know, this looks really like something from SpongeBob. I just wondered. I love this. So yes, the Patrick Star for the All-the-Modium Star, and this is going to go between my wither, and it's going to go right here. Perfect. And that is, well, almost everything done, as I still am waiting on the Nether Stars, which should be done by the next episode. And next episode, we're going to be wrapping up this mod pack, and we should be completing the All-the-Modium Star, thus, in my terms, beating the pack. I'm excited for that. So guys, with all of that fun, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I hope you had an absolute blast. I know I did, getting all of these things crafted together. It really feels like a lot, since we basically started with a ship on lava that had absolutely nothing but a tree on it. So we've really come a long ways. And I thank you guys so much for watching. All of you who have subscribed thus far and have clicked that like button and followed this series, thank you guys so much. And I look forward to see you in the next series, and of course into the next episode, which will end up being the final episode of this. Guys, I thank you so much for watching. If you haven't clicked that subscribe button already, I don't know what you're doing at this point. And if you haven't liked, I mean, come on now. Like, well, what are you doing as well? Of course, guys, it's now time to thank the amazing supporters that make this all possible. in today's video. And that amazing thanks is going to go out to Lorex Cold. Thank you so much for your amazing support, by the way, over on the Discord, becoming a Discord premium member. And as of the time of me recording this, actually chilling out and hanging out with us in the Discord, in the voice chats. So thank you so much for your amazing support. And I thank you guys for checking out the Discord. If you haven't already, definitely check it out. It's discord.gg/ChosenArchitect and join the amazing crew today. You don't have to support or anything, but if that's something you're looking forward to, that's a great place to do it. And of course, I thank you all for watching. And as always, I'm saying it too many times. Thanks for watching. Bye.